This story begins by introducing the characters. Yi Kyung, who we will call Yi for the sake of narration, who is 18 years old. Arriving at school, he greets his friend Kuryong, who we will call Kairi, and mentions to them that Yi is very smiley, but somewhat awkward. After he arrives, he does so with a leaf on his head. She asks Kairi to take it off, and he in a teasing but friendly manner does so. We see Yi and Kairi being very close, at recess, in classes, and even when they are on their way home. This is why Hoke, that's what we'll call the strong guy, asks him here and he's dating Yi, but Kairi making it clear that they are just friends, although he admits to himself that she's pretty cute. And even though many times, like on the bus, he is very careless, Kairi really has no feelings for Yi. After arriving at their destination, the two friends walk around the neighborhood. He asks Kairi what will be next, and he replies to go play. He asks if she can go with him, but he tells her no, since it's a guy's night. Even though Yi gets sad, he decides it's better to leave, and Kairi thinks to himself if he opens any other person as pure as Yi. After a long night of playing, we see the Hulk and Kairi finishing playing. Kairi notices that it is very late, and he has to go home, but he notices that he is in Yi's neighborhood. Therefore, he wonders if he can see her by any chance, but quickly retorts that it is very strange for her to be out so late. Knowing her well, he starts his walk on his way home, but suddenly he notices a familiar silhouette. He notices that it is Yi, and greets her, but that she is smoking. He gets very nervous and tries to make Kairi not to notice the cigarette. She tries very hard to convince Kairi not to tell anyone. Kairi, immersed in his thoughts, says that he can't believe that such an innocent girl is a criminal, a bully. Kairi remains silent and only mentions to him that he has to leave. Again, Kairi ignoring what Yi is trying to tell him. He just doesn't hear anything as he is very surprised. But suddenly he hears a, "Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you ignoring me?" Kairi with a trembling voice reply, "It's not like that." Yi with a firm voice tells him, "Keep it a secret." Silence ensues until Kairi replies with a fearful yes. Yi returns to his normal state and says goodbye to Kairi as if nothing had happened. He reminds him to keep his promise, not to reveal anything to anyone. But, Kairi, what's wrong with you? Do you feel excited? Maybe. The next day, Kairi is a bit thoughtful, but Yi slips awkwardly, breaking the tension. Kairi tries to help her, but when they touch her hand she flinches. He is still lying on the floor. Kairi apologizes, and they start the lessons. Kairi asks if something hurts. She replies that her head hurts, and the teacher asks them to be quiet. Kairi thinks he is faking her smile, but she is actually angry. Kairi, remembering what happened last night, feels some fear. He asks has she kept the secret, and Kairi replies yes. She pats his head like a dog, but he suddenly yells for her to let go. Kairi, realizing the commotion he has caused, generates a quick excuse, saying he has greasy hair, and she tells him he should wash it. The teacher lashes out again with a weird pose, that if they don't shut up he will kick them out of the classroom. Kairi notices that he feels strange every time he touches him, something that clearly didn't happen before. He shows him a suspiciously funny drawing, and Kairi spits with laughter. The teacher scolds them both again, but now he is very upset. The teacher pulls him out of the classroom, and he obviously wants to go to the bathroom, taking advantage of the opportunity. Kairi follows her and slips. He is now the one with her hand outstretched, but Kairi doesn't want to touch her, and it is at that moment that Yi and tells him in her commanding voice, "Kuryong ... give me your hand." Kairi stands up and Yi asks him if he is okay. He affirms and she decides to go to the bathroom. It is at that moment that Kairi realizes that he has just entered adolescence. Now we see Kairi buying things in a very quiet store, when Yi appears from behind greeting him. As usual, he gets anxious and asks her what she is doing here. She replies that she is going to the gym, but she is getting too close. Kairi reflexively yells at her to get away from him. He thinks he is going crazy, but again thinks Yi very pretty. He asks him where he is going and if maybe he can go to her house. In the next panel, we see a new character in Kairi's house. It is his 17-year-old sister Yang, asking for his snacks, with that being the reason he was at the store. He introduces herself, and Kairi's sister reacts in a very funny way, saying that if her brother brings a girl home, it means it's the end of the world. At the end, the sister introduces herself and leaves. Yi and Kairi decide to watch a movie together, even though he notices he is at home. It's too late to tell him to leave. Yi tells him that she wants to watch a gory movie, but Kairi says that she doesn't like this kind of movies. She proposes to watch an erotic anime, or in simple words, a porn, but he again says no. So they decide to put on an 18+ romantic movie. But of course the 18-plus romantic movie must have something racy in it. You know the one I mean. He says that the couple in the movie is very passionate, and suddenly the sister remembered that she had to go pick up her snacks. But she gets the surprise that her brother and the woman he brought home are watching a movie with sexual content. Then, she starts running to tell her father. Kairi decides to change the movie to avoid more problems. The movie he plays is very boring and he ends up falling asleep leaning on his shoulder, generating a somewhat romantic atmosphere. Some time later the movie ends and he gets up as if nothing. He mentions that he has to leave and Kairi, like the saint he is, apologizes for playing such a boring movie. And already with a seductive voice he tells her that she was not sleeping. She leaves, leaving here neither very blushing. E's father finally asks her how the movie was, and she mentions that she doesn't remember anything. A new day begins, and Kairi says goodbye to her family to go to school. But her family ignores her, as they were watching the same movie that E and Kairi watched yesterday. The thing is that to Kairi this brings back many memories of when he had supposedly slept on his shoulder. Kairi turns red and his father notices, but his sister quickly gives him away by saying he is red because he watched a +18 movie yesterday with a woman at home. His father looks like he is about to scold him, but as if he is a father proud of him, he compliments him on that guy, that's my son. His sister complains to the father because he is not punishing Kairi. His father retorts by saying that he should go to school already too. Kairi is in class admiring Yi, thinking about how such a cute girl on the outside is a bully in reality. In fact, this guy is so confused that in the middle of class he starts imagining things with Yi. But Yi looks at him very innocently. Kairi is still so confused that he imagines he's saying really mean things to him. Yi tells him that his face is red as if he imagined something bold, which is true. But Kairi, as he is a liar, denies everything. But Yi tells him a sentence, which says, a strong denial is a strong truth. Yi pays to tease him, but says that she also thinks of bold things when Kairi is distracted. She was thinking of the scene the other day, and Kairi, getting nervous and embarrassed, tries to continue the conversation. But Yi corners him saying, you were thinking of something, right? And what kind of things were you imagining? Kairi, in a very nervous way, tells him that it's not true, and that he wasn't thinking about anything. But before he could finish his sentence, Yi says that he is a pervert. Kairi blushes and yells, but Yi tells him it's a joke, and teases him for the rest of the class, calling him a pervert. By the way, the teacher gets paid enough to put up with these two. It's already noon and we have a soccer game. By the looks of it, they stole the ball from one of the teams and they don't know who the goalie is. But when they realize that it's Kairi, quickly the team members give him all their support and confidence. But Kairi is always there to disappoint. He doesn't catch the ball. And the worst part is that the ball went in slow and through the ground. His team was left open-mouthed at how useless he is. At that moment they make fun of him and Kairi feels sorry. But Yi's beautiful goes running to where Kairi is, asking him if he is feeling okay. To which Kairi replies that it's all good. Yi helps Kairi up, although he feels embarrassed. The PE teacher tells the students that the free time is over, it is now time for the aptitude test. Normally Kairi wouldn't mind this, but now he is a little embarrassed when Yi looks at him. For this reason, he is going to try to push himself. The first ones in are Yi and Hulk. Yi manages to do 72 push-ups. But they haven't seen Hulk yet. He managed to do 415. And he has the nerve to say it was easy. Everyone praises him and says he's a monster. Kairi, what matters most to him is what Yi says about Hulk. She mentions that he is great, but nothing else. Next are Kairi, one more classmate. Everyone makes fun of Kairi, but serious Yi tells everyone to shut their mouths. The exam starts and Kairi goes for number 12. Yi tells him to try hard. I don't really know scores he ends up doing, but I think more than 19. At the end Yi helps him walk and congratulates him. We also see his classmate in the background. By the way, we get the luxury of knowing why the Hulk doesn't play soccer, and that is if he were to kick the ball, it would explode. We start the day with Kairi running in the hallway, but he collides with a classmate. This girl drops her cell phone and Kairi apologizes and proceeds to pick it up. But when he picks it up he realizes that she was looking at a collection, and with some fetishes, sadistic stuff. She grabs her cell phone in a hurry, and Kairi apologizes for looking at something private. She runs out of the place screaming that she is a pervert. The next day Kairi is in her class, and Yi tells her a very bad joke, and when she doesn't get an answer from Kairi, Yi gets angry. At that moment the blue-haired one from the day before appears. This character introduces herself as Lee Saeon. She says she wants to talk to Kairi, but he doesn't even know her and not even about her name. Yi introduces them and Lee says that he saw something very private from her. Yi and they are confused, He asks Kairi for explanations as if they were a couple. But before he can explain, Lee grabs him by his clothes and takes us away. They get to the rooftop when things calm down a bit. Kairi asks him what she needs or what she means, and Lee asks him if he finds her attractive. Kairi is very confused. What does this have to do with it? And she replies that the people around her see her as a cute and innocent girl and she would like to keep that kind of image on her. But of course she had a secret. Kairi tells her that seeing something racy on her own is normal. But she replies, I am a flower child and you found me out yesterday. Kairi gets even more confused and mentions again that she is not a pervert and that he just has to keep the secret. No, Lee doesn't believe him and says that he will tell everyone, so he should show her something private so that way they are even. And as Kairi is a man who respects himself, he struggles not to be taken away from her innocence. And that's when he comes to our dearest Yi. Seeing them so attached and hearing what Lee asks Kairi, she gets serious and pushes Lee. She falls backwards and it seems to hurt. Yi notices and apologizes, saying she only did it out of instinct. But Lee seems to feel more than just pain. They seem to like it. He tells Kairi that she is a little weird, and Kairi affirming says that they better go somewhere else, as she seems a little crazy to him. Still, he seems a bit worried about Lee's words. Days go by and Lee is very attached to Kairi, bothering everywhere. Kairi yells at Lee, telling him to stop bothering. Lee starts to cry, but before things can go any further, the Hulk arrives. Hulk tells them they are making too much noise, and I want to wake up from their nap. But Lee doesn't care and tells Hulk he is a pig and better go to sleep. This Hulk annoys him, who wouldn't be annoyed, and takes Lee on his shoulder like he's a sack of potatoes. Hulk looks like he will give her an honorable punishment, but Lee cries for her life, saying she will never be the same after the punishment. The guys ignore this and say it would be better to keep their distance from the madwoman. Yi feels anxious again for all the things and moments Kairi spent with Lee, and asks her if anything happened between the two of them. Kairi tells her, and mentions to her that he saw a picture on her cell phone and little else. Kairi, like the man he is, asks her if it bothered her that he had so much time with Lee, and she replies no. He runs out saying that it wasn't what she thought, though she inadvertently became serious. And then we see what Lee escaped the Hulk's punishment. We start a new day with Kairi at the gym, tired after working out, when he notices that it's raining. He proceeds to call his sister to ask her to bring him an umbrella, but she asks for food in return. He agrees and cuts. While typing on his cell phone, he peeks out from behind and scares Kairi. They talk a bit and Yi asks him if he brought his umbrella. Kairi replies that he didn't watch the Weather Channel that day. He asks if he wants to share his umbrella to get home, and Kairi says that is something only couples do. But he remembered that his sister was coming with the umbrella. Then quickly he calls her and says it is no longer necessary. But she disagrees as she is about to arrive and needed the pizza. But Kairi hangs up and a car wets his sister. Then the friends decide to set off on their journey home. But Kairi notices that Yi is getting her shoulder wet, and from the looks of it she decided so. Kairi tells her that he will hold the umbrella so that way she won't get wet. But Yi gets nervous and loses her balance and falls into the water. Kairi asks her if she is okay, but she is already soaked, and Kairi, not knowing how to act, decides to apologize. Yi, being the one in charge of the relationship, tells him that she is seeing them directly. Kairi goes blank and only retorts that it's not true. He teases him by calling him a pervert. Her sister is still waiting for the pizza. In this episode we can see two friends talking. One of them asks the other if they confess to her again, and she says yes, but she rejected them because he wasn't cute enough for her. Afterwards, Kairi appears on the scene, running, working out as usual, but they make fun of him. One of them has a proposal for the other one, and he bets 100,000 won if the brown-haired one makes Kairi fall in love with her. The next day we find Yi talking to Kairi when suddenly the brown-haired one named Ha Jinwon, 18 years old, appears. She greets Kairi, who doesn't quite remember her name. Jinwon seductively approaches Kairi and tells him her name. He doesn't look favorably on this. Jinwon keeps talking to Kairi, but inside he thinks it's better just to finish and asks for her number. He is startled, but Kairi, like the innocent he is, asks him what he wants it for. Jinwon, not being used to this kind of situation, tells her that when she, a pretty girl, she asks for his number, he just has to give it to her. Jinwon gets angry, since Kairi really doesn't think it's necessary to give him her cell phone number. He is kind of happy. Jinwon stops yelling and being so cold, and tells him that she was just curious what his number was. Kairi gives him her number and leaves together with Yi to the cafeteria. Yi is happy. Jinwon is very confused, since how is it possible that there is a man who resists her charms. She even starts to think that Kairi likes boys. In PE class, Jinwon tries to talk to Kairi again. She throws some compliments at him, and Kairi just thinks. He is not happy about this. Jinwon makes his move trying to seduce Kairi by telling him to hold his legs while they exercise. But to Kairi he mentions that he has met the best character in this manga, and it seems that Jinwon feels some fear against our Hulk. Jinwon feels disappointed in herself, although Lee offers himself to her somewhat strangely. Jinwon doesn't give up and tries to seduce him or if she wants to talk to Kairi multiple times, but he only talks to her in a serious and uninterested way. You know, like a typical friend. She runs away in the end, and in the bathroom with her friend, she makes fun of her for not being able to romance a loser like Kairi. She makes many hypotheses of the reason why Kairi is not in love with her, but in the end they don't actually get anywhere. He enters the scene introducing himself to them, and asking if Jinwon is interested in Kairi. The two answer that they were not interested in him, and that they were just making a bet, explaining in detail what they were planning to do. At that moment he calls their attention, telling them that it's not right for them to bother their friend. Those girls tease Yi and Kairi continuously, but Yi brings out her bully side, asking what they are talking about. By the looks of it, these girls were a little scared, but the black-haired girl had no better idea than to face Yi. Yi has no intentions to continue with the talk, since it didn't look like they were sorry. But when Yi was retreating, the black-haired one tries to attack Yi from behind, but Yi reacts time knocking her down on the floor. With great force, the girl cries out in pain, and Yi mockingly asks her if it hurt. He gave one last warning and left, leaving the girls dumbfounded. Even though the black-haired girl kept barking, Yi outside the bathroom reflects on what happened, and concludes that I exaggerate a bit. Out of nowhere, Kairi comes out exclaiming that he's been looking for her everywhere. He asks why he's been looking for her, and Kairi replies that it's because she wasn't by his side. Although Yi gets excited, it doesn't last that long, as Kairi asks where Jinwon was. The thing ends with Yi upset and leaving without him, without first giving him a bite. The next day Kairi meets Jinwon and he casually greets him, but Jinwon reacts in a bad way, telling him not to be so confident and cocky just because she talked to him. At that time Jinwon notices Yi's presence and decides to leave. The chapter ends with Yi running to Kairi. By the way, Lee was inside the bathroom when the fight happened, just enjoying other people's pain.